So I watched the press conference, the reveal, the presentation for the Nintendo Switch. Watched it with Fringy and Black Bond, and we had a gay old time. In the traditional sense of the word. If I could state it in, should I start this with a TLDR? Maybe I should. The Nintendo Switch is aggressively mediocre. I'm not particularly a fan of what I've seen so far. There's a lot of information regarding it that I'm gonna go over and my thoughts on it, but for the most part, you can get your dislikes out of the way, fanboys. For Nintendo, I don't really care for the Nintendo Switch. I don't. I didn't see much in that presentation that screamed day one purchase for me. First off, you shouldn't really be buying consoles or anything day one, especially not consoles. But I guess some people just can't help themselves, and you wonder why you get shit in the industry when everybody buys things day one. Alright, the Nintendo Switch. Little bit of history. I own a multitude of Nintendo products. I have a GameCube, I have an N64, I have a Game Boy Advance, a Game Boy Advance SP, I have two DS's, one of the original OG DS's and a 3DS XL. I don't own a Wii, but my brother bought one years ago, and I played that quite a bit. I'm no stranger to Nintendo games. There was a time when I was exclusively a console and handheld gamer. Oh, the times, they are a-changin'. So let's go over what we know, or what we think we know about the Nintendo Switch. Alright, so it's going to be $300, which is a okay price. I would really have liked to have seen $250, but we got $300, that's fine. No qualms with a $300 price tag. But what seems odd about this $300 price tag, which comes with the Switch itself, you got the Joy-Con controllers. I hate that name. You get the little case thingy, the little port for the screen. You get the Joy-Con holder, the little, the thingies you hold. I don't even know what it's called. The Joy-Con assist device. You get the two straps. You get the cords to plug it into your TV or whatnot. The Joy-Cons come in either gray, dark gray. It's a lovely, lovely dark gray. Contrasts with the black just fantastically. And there's also a version that has a light blue and a red side. Hopefully, they will come out with Joy-Con straps that have a blue and a red that correspond with these colors. And they don't make you buy a red pack and a blue pack to go with your red and blue halves of your Joy-Cons. But this is Nintendo we're talking about, so who the hell knows what they'll do? Speaking of extra controllers, yes, it's a $300 entry fee for the price of the console. But the Pro controller, you know, the controller that you actually want, so you can pretend you're kind of playing a video game on console? That'll cost just $70. That's a shit ton of money for a controller. That's a shit ton of money for a controller that's that. Remember, you can go and buy, if you're looking for peripherals for $70, you can buy console controllers for the PS4 and the Xbox. Those are, what, $50 or so. You could buy a hell of a mouse and keyboard combination for $70. So assuming you go and you buy the Switch at day one, and you want the controller and a game, we're looking at about $460. If you buy it in a store or buy it in a state where there's online taxes, apply that as necessary. All of a sudden, $300 is not so much $300 anymore. Oh, but Rags, you get 1-2 Switch with it. Nope. I didn't know this at first, but you don't even get 1-2 Switch with it. 1-2 Switch is $50. I bet that shit's gonna fly off the shelves. Wii Sports, this is not. Not that 1-2 Switch looked like anything resembling fun. I mean, I guess for some people who buy Nintendo products, the only chance they'll ever have of getting their hands on teats is simulation of milking a cow. Who am I to judge? Oh, too late, just did. Now, let's talk about, okay, we're going to talk about games here, all right? We're going to talk about games. So this thing comes out March the 3rd, right? So you've got a little bit of time to think about what games you want and what games you don't want for the Switch. Oh yeah, that's right. There's not much of a thought process to be had here because the games at launch are, well, they are skimp in the most optimistic sense of the word, aren't they? They are very, very skimp. The cup runneth dry. The Wii U's titles for launch are, well, they suck. Let's use vulgarity here. They suck. They're just donkey balls, aren't they? Now, we have The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, there to knock out half of your Switch's storage space, which might seem like it's really, really bad when you consider, though, that there isn't really anything else to put on the Switch at launch. It's not really all that bad. Silver linings, right? By the way, if you can detect my snark, it's because I'm disappointed in Nintendo, and I went into this presentation thinking if it was good enough, I just might pick one up myself. I long for the days of nostalgia trips, because I grew up with Nintendo games as well. I played them when I could. But launch games, we've got The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, which of course every person is fawning over, because I guess everyone has decided already and preemptively it will be the best thing since the cure for polio. This is an excellent starting game, I will admit, for no other reason other than the hype, at least we know that. But I hope it's a damn good game, because it's not like you're going to be playing much else. Let me say you get, you want to Switch, but again, that's $50. It doesn't even come with the damn thing. The other games are The Binding of Isaac Afterbirth Plus. There is, Just Dance 2017. You got Skylanders Imaginators, Super Bomberman R. Many other games have been spoken about. Based on the presentation, though, you'd think that they're just selling ideas for games instead of games themselves. A lot of the games didn't have gameplay footage. For instance, Travis Touchdown made a cameo appearance, but the game doesn't even have a name yet. We didn't get a release date. We don't know anything about the game, but hey, we mentioned it, and people will buy games buy systems just because they mentioned something that they kind of liked before. Such as gaming these days. Only 6 games that I think it's only 6 games that we know will come out, or that they say will come out, because as I've said before, if it doesn't have a release date, it might as well not exist, because the games industry in 2017, you know what I'm going at here. ARMS, Has Been Heroes, I Am Setsuna, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Puyo Puyo Tetris, the Snipper Clips, Cut It Out Together. Those are the only games that I can think of that come out in March and spring. Maybe my list is incomplete. For the summer, we've got two, Rhyme and Splatoon 2. Rhyme's not even a Nintendo exclusive. In Splatoon 2, when we were watching this presentation live, Fringy was there with me, and we were watching the ad for Splatoon 2. We didn't get halfway through the trailer until he said, "Wait a second, I think this is Splatoon 2. I don't know, maybe that says something about Splatoon. Oh, but what games are beyond that and to be determined? Disgaea 5, Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, there's something about a FIFA game, Fire Emblem Warriors, Minecraft, ooh boy, we gotta sell Minecraft again. Skyrim, they're selling Skyrim again, they're still selling Skyrim, okay? They're still selling Skyrim to people, that's insane. There's Steep, Sonic Mania, there's Super Mario Odyssey, which is Holiday 2017. They made such a big deal about it at the Switch presentation. Yeah, wait till the holiday. So that can compete with the Scorpio for whatever you think that's worth. Xenoblade Chronicles 2, Ultra Street Fighter, Siberia 3, there's Rayman Legends, Shin Megami Tensei. All of these games are in, well, what should be regarded by the wise as video game limbo. After all, if Microsoft can cancel Scalebound, then really, I'd feel worried about any game before it's actually released. Games aren't out until they're out. Please remember that. So, moving on. No, I can't let this go. This bothers me too much, okay? I was watching them dole out all these games, and I couldn't help but think, gosh, my mind is aflutter too much with what we're not seeing instead of what we do see. Odyssey, okay, that looks nifty. It comes out at the end of the year. Fire Emblem something or other, okay, no information on it from the presentation, but I've liked Fire Emblem in the past. But God, there's no Metroid. There's no Star Fox, no Castlevania. There's no Super Smash Brothers. No Mario Party, no Mario Kart. No Pikmin. There wasn't even a damn Pokemon game. Come on, Nintendo. Where are all these heavy-hitting series? What, we got ARMS. We got ARMS. ARMS. We got ARMS. No, thank you. I will not be purchasing ARMS. I'll be watching ARMS to listen to people make fun of it. Maybe there's an insanely pro-meta that will be in ARMS. Who knows? Maybe I'm writing it off too soon. But after how lackluster the Wii U was, I just don't understand, but I mean, fuck me, right? I don't work in marketing or anything like that, but if it was up to me in an alternate reality where it was up to me, I would have thought maybe they should have had all these heavy-hitting franchises ready to go and space them out. So here's your Star Fox in April, and then May there's a Metroid game. In June there's a Castlevania. There's a Pokemon game coming out in July. Space it out so people have the money to buy all this stuff. But no, that's not what happened. We were sold mostly the promises of games to come eventually. They'll be here when they be here. What an insanely depressing launch title setup. Unless you are, and I know a lot of the people, for them the Switch is a Zelda box. I understand that. Some people love Zelda. Oh, and when I said Vermintide's loot rolls were like literally like dice rolls, this is what I mean. But I also got to thinking here regarding these launch games. You have The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. It will probably be one of the biggest games of the year for all systems. Who wants to compete with The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild? No developer in their right minds wants to have a launch title next to Breath of the Wild. No. They want to wait a while. They want to wait a month, 2 months until they release their games. You don't want to compete with Breath of the Wild. That's dumb. Why did Titanfall 2 do so poorly in sales despite it being such a fantastically good game? Because EA fucked over Respawn by having it released between Battlefield 1 and the Call of Duty for that year. You might as well call it the Nintendo Zelda box, because that's what it's going to be for the first 2 months of its existence. If you don't like Zelda, then why the flying fuck do you want to Switch? At least I could understand if you're a super big Zelda nerd, how you would want to buy a Switch. I totally understand. A Link to the Past is one of my most played games ever on the Game Boy. Love me some Link to the Past. And the Phantom Hourglass for the DS? Love it! Fantastic game. Nothing but fond memories. So, all that aside, the games list for the Switch is shit. Maybe it just doesn't appeal to me, and I'm pretty certain that a lot of those other games are multiplats. Or, you know, like Skyrim's case, they released ages ago. Maybe a lot of people will buy it so you can have Skyrim on the go for whatever that means with whatever power that thing has when it's not docked. Which is not a lot, spoiler alert, but shit. Oh well, I guess if people want to buy Skyrim again, then by all means. I understand people who are straight Nintendo gamers don't have Skyrim, but I mean, shit, it's on everything else at this point. I heard someone in a stream saying they might as well call it the Wii DS or the Wii U 2. Maybe they're right. Enough about games. Enough about games. I'm done talking about the the 6 launch title games and all the mysterious maybe games that'll be coming out later. The Switch does not have me enthralled with its list of games. Where's the Metroid? Where's the Castlevania? Where's the Super Smash Brothers? Where the F-Zeros? Come on. Oh, fuck, I'll write the third-party support. The supposed third-party support that we have for the Nintendo Switch. We know basically nothing about it. We have a bunch of smoke and mirrors and rumors and dragons hiding in shadows in the dark castle that is our hopes and expectations for the video game industry. Right now, if you're banking on the Switch having a fantastic library of third-person titles, maybe tailor your expectations to the very possible idea that the reality will be depressing to you. If you're a one-console kind of person, or a one-system kind of person, then you'd better have a damn good library. That's why I play on PC, and I see no real reason to buy anything else. The library is so extensive on the PC, I've got more games than I know what to do with. I've got the most exclusives, and I have the superior versions of all the multiplats. If anything could convince me to get a Switch, it would be those sweet, sweet first-party Nintendo exclusives. But they don't seem to be there. At least not enough for me. So the Nintendo Switch itself, is it a handheld? Is it a dedicated console? It's both. It's for your TV and on the go. That Vermintide physics, though. You can play split-screen games when it's mobile. You could play wirelessly with other suckers, or other people who bought the Switch at launch. And if there's anything that consoles need right now to really give them an edge over the emerging PC market, it's split screen, okay? Consoles used to be the haven for split screen games, but now there are more split screen games on PC. Look it up, cooptimus.com. We've been over this. I would really, really like the Switch to be really heavy on the split screen, alright? So kids and siblings can play together, so that you could really take advantage of the mobile aspect when you go out and about, so that 2 people can play it instead of just 1. It will engage people socially, I think, in a way that 1-2 Switch just won't. I mean, they're showing Mario Kart split screen, for instance, on the Wii, and that looks good. That's good. Good on you, Nintendo. You need to keep up with the split screen support. Some of my most fond memories in gaming are from sitting with people playing split screen. Now, from what I've heard, maybe there's updated info on this. This is just a thoughts video. I'm not going to delve too deep into the info here. All right. Watch this video in tandem with others, okay? My word is not law when it comes to the Nintendo products. So, on the handheld version, when you're not docked, the GPU only runs at 40% clock speed, which is a huge downgrade. The screen itself, I believe, is 720p, which is, you know, standard fare for modern consoles, I suppose. But on a screen that small, at least they can sort of get away with it. Still, I would have liked to see something better. But again, 720p, the GPU is running 40% clock speed. I suppose it makes sense, and it will be, in every sense of the word, totally bearable. The Switch itself doesn't appear to be very strong. You could see in the presentations the fluctuation in frame rates between 60 and everything lower. After all, during the presentation, when they took the image of games running on the Switch and blew it up for a big projection screen or whatever the hell they had, all of a sudden, all those jaggies looked really, really obvious. The Nintendo Switch is not going to have good graphics. It's not. If you consider what you saw good graphics, then God bless you. I honestly envy you. Perhaps the PC has just spoiled me. It probably has. I'm a guy who can look past graphics, and I really can, but the games just don't look good on the Switch. But they look bright. They're colorful. They all have their own unique little styles. They have character. And I would honestly probably prefer that to the dull, washed-out gray stuff that we see on the consoles now. Especially if it means I could play games at 60 FPS. Because frame rate is way more important than resolution, normally. I don't think there'll be Street Pass, though, like the 3DS had. I don't think it'll have the Miiverse, either. Let me see. The screen, I think it's about 6 inches, 6.2 inches or so. So, yeah, it's about the size of a Wii U. Now, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Not Donald Trump. We're gonna talk about the online service for the Switch. Because Nintendo fucked up. Nintendo done fucked it up. They fucked it up, okay? Nintendo fucked it up. While it will be free at launch to get you hooked and get you thinking that Nintendo actually gave a damn about you, in the fall of 2017, I believe they said, it will be a paid service. You're going to have to pay again to play your multiplayer games online. Which is a thing I guess Nintendo saw Microsoft and Sony making a shit ton of money from, because there's basically no cost to them. No, I'm not going to go into a rant about how stupid it is to pay for these services. Just as a PC gamer, it is ridiculous how you have to pay that. But now Nintendo, which used to be at least able to say, well, we're a console, but you can play your online games for free, they no longer have that advantage, and they desperately need all the advantages they can get at this point. Now, the perks that we know of from the online service, they kind of have the free games thing. Oh, I said games, plural. My bad. So sorry, I wouldn't want to mislead you. I meant game, singular. Every month you get a NES or Super NES game free for a month. Then you have to buy it. One game. You get one old-ass game for a month. Apparently, these games will have newly added online features, which will probably be, leaderboards, stat tracking, useless garbage. Maybe Nintendo will add something to these games like co-op or something like that, but it is Nintendo, so my hopes, they are not high. So after you get your game per month for free, you have to pay to continue playing it afterwards. So you might be asking, what the hell am I actually paying for, Nintendo? What a great dice roll. Thanks, Vermintide. What is all this money going to go towards? Nintendo's pockets, I suppose. They saw that sweet, sweet cash Sony and Microsoft was making, and they just had to put their hands in that basket. But there is one thing that we know about the service. If you want to chat with other players, you're going to have to do that through a smartphone app. I shit you not. I'm not kidding. If you want to talk to people on this paid online service, you have to download and use a smartphone app in order to do it. What the hell, Nintendo? What the hell? You're making us pay for shit, and we have to jump through hoops in order to talk with people online. God forbid it be built into the service that we're now paying for. God forbid, Nintendo. Gonna lose connection to this server real quick. That's awesome. Who knows what happened? Okay. That's depressing. That's really depressing. I mean, at least Microsoft and Sony, they shouldn't be charging you, of course. That's ridiculous. That's a scam that people are buying into. They're holding multiplayer hostage from you until you fork up the dough a third time. But why? Why spend money on the Nintendo Online service? I mean, shit, I would just use it for single-player games and split screen anyway. And God forbid, Nintendo, if you fucking charge to do split screen, you will be dead to me. They wouldn't do that, Rags. What wouldn't Nintendo do at this point? What would not they do? Ah, well, let's be optimistic, In any event, the screen at least will be touchscreen, so that's good. It's not bad to have a touchscreen. I don't think there are any drawbacks to it. Maybe I'm wrong. Let me know if I am. Let's go to the battery life. The battery life, Nintendo says, is going to be 6 hours, right? But, quote, will vary depending on the software and usage conditions. Okay, let's put this in the more colloquial terms here. When they say 6 hours, they mean the most optimistic sense of the term. So, when they say Breath of the Wild can be played for 3 hours on a single charge, that means with the lights down low, and with all the energy-saving thingamabobbers turned on that it might or might not have, that means the most you're probably going to get out of it is 3 hours. They're going to obviously give the most optimistic and best estimate. However, do not worry if you think this is a huge deal. I don't think it is. I think that is plenty of time. If you're going to take the Nintendo Switch and use it as a mobile device, right? And again, this is about what kind of usage you personally are going to get out of it. So for me, what I would use it as, it would be to supplement my gaming itch while I was out and about. Sort of, in theory, I suppose. Of course, I have a PC, and I do have a 3DS XL, and I like it. It's got a lot of good games for it, and it's a great platform. I really, really like the DS. I've had 2 so far. Which makes me wonder why I would get a Switch in the first place. I know we were talking about battery life, but 3 hours would be enough for you to play a bit when you're going out to, I don't know, someplace, someone's house, or you want to play it in the car on a trip, or for whatever reason you have it. But again, if you have a 3DS, you kind of already have a system, that you can use for mobile gaming that has a huge library of games. Many of them are fantastic. This makes me ask myself, and this happened when the reveal of the Switch occurred. I asked, why is Nintendo attempting to compete with the most successful handheld on the market right now, as far as I know, the DS, the 3DS? Why are they trying to make a console that is also mobile when they already have an extremely successful mobile platform to use that has a huge library and a lot of great games and that a lot of people love? If anyone said they should get a 3DS, I would absolutely say yes, you should get a 3DS. Maybe in the future I can see the handheld component becoming a lot more viable as more games are released, but at launch, as far as mobile platforms go, I really see no reason to get a Switch over the 3DS unless you just really, really like Zelda or ARMS, or at least really weak versions of those. Because remember, the GPU runs at 40% clock speed when it's not docked. Here's another very odd thing that the 3DS seems to have adopted. The default storage space of the Switch, from what I understand, is 32 gigabytes. 32. 32. Just 32 gigabytes. Now, it uses micro SD cards, which are not expensive and that you can buy yourself, and I'm certain Nintendo would have their own name brand cards that they would be more than happy to sell you. Effectively, I think these will be used as memory cards are used, or how different games are used with collections on the 3DS and whatnot, or game packs were on the Game Boy. You have to carry around and continually buy multiple storage cards to use to store your games. The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild is a little bit over 13 gigabytes, which means after you account for the natural space that is taken up on a storage device so it can function properly, almost half of the storage space on the default Switch will be used for a single game. Of course, I mean, what else are you going to put on the Switch at launch, right? But still, it does present itself as an issue. And if the Switch wants to try and market itself as a competitor to Amazon or any other sort of digital service, then these micro SD cards could become an issue because, again, they only carry so much. You're going to have to keep up with SD cards, which for a lot of people, they don't care and they don't mind. It just seems really, really weird to me that Nintendo seems to be taking a step back in this regard. Why can't these things be stored on the Switch itself? Probably it was a sacrifice they made for the mobility aspect, thus the cut down GPU speed when it's mobile and other aspects of it, like how terrible the controllers probably feel. You're going to have to keep up with a lot of micro SD cards. That's just the reality of the situation. If it only comes with 32 gigabytes, you're going to have to either buy a really big one, or you're going to have to buy multiple ones, or buy them in increments as you go. But that shouldn't have to be mandatory for a console in 2017. I'm sure it doesn't bug some people at all, and more power to you if it doesn't, but that would just annoy me, having to go out and keep buying storage devices. Alright, got that out of the way. Let's talk about the controllers, the Joy-Con controllers. That's a dumb name, okay? That's a dumb name. That's dumb. So I, of course, expect Nintendo to have come up with it. Now, you have the Joy-Con controllers themselves, right? You get one pair. Now, the Switch, the Pro controller, you can buy one of those for $70, alright? $70. Again, $70 for the, controller that you really want. I don't know if you can plug in the GameCube controllers into it. I hope you can, because the GameCube controllers were the shit. They were excellent. I love the GameCube controllers. But I imagine that there will be a lot of games out there that will just not be in any way comfortable at all to play on the Joy-Con controllers. And for people with larger hands, they seem like they'd be, quite frankly, a pain in the ass. But maybe it's just something you can get used to, and most likely that probably will be the case. And when it comes to the Joy-Con controllers themselves, I do think it's at least nice that the game itself comes with the necessary controllers, because it's like a 2-in-1 sort of deal, for you to be able to play split-screen and multiplayer games right out of the box, instead of having to do a more traditional console route and going, I'm from Arkansas, why do I say route? Anyway, instead of going the more traditional path and having to buy an extra controller if you want to play with someone else. Of course, on consoles, split screen is going the way of the dodo. So it is really good and heartening to me to see split screen prominently featured as something that the Switch does. Split screen is a huge asset to consoles, and if I was going to buy a console, and I haven't ruled it out yet, I never have really, then the availability of split screen on that console would be a huge factor in my decision. So the Joy-Con controllers have a couple little interesting tidbits about them. There's like this IR camera that can measure distances. There's an amiibo data reader. Hooray for all of you who just love dim amiibos. Amiibos. You're gonna get those again. Excellent, fantastic, more amiibos. There is also, I forget whether it was the right or the left controller, but one of them has a capture button that captures data kind of like a PS4 does, or how Shadow Play does on the PC, and you can use this to share videos and upload it to Facebook and stuff, and that's nifty, whatever. I don't care about it personally, but some people are really into that, so that would be nice, especially because the Switch doesn't cater to like the hardcore demographic of gamers that I think the other consoles do. So having Mario games and Mario Party games, Mario Kart games, things of that nature popping up on Facebook feeds will be more openly accepted by people than, Gears of War, Chainsaw, that stuff. It does add to the social aspect, though, and that is something the Switch desperately needs, especially if they're going to charge for online. The presenter also had something with ice cubes. It had HQ Rumble, I think it's called. HD Rumble. HQ or HD Rumble. It's like you're shaking two pieces of ice in a glass, and the controller feels just like it. Wow, that sounds super useful, Nintendo. Thank God we spent all that R&D money going into HD Rumble features. HD Rumble, Nintendo. Rumble. Ugh. In any event, there's no region locking on the Switch. That's good. Thank you, Nintendo, for doing something good with the new system. And let me see. I'm looking through this picture of games here that they tweeted out. See, it won't be till the end of April you guys get Mario Kart Deluxe. I say you guys because I've decided I'm not going to buy one. Not yet. ARMS isn't out till spring if you really, really wanted ARMS. Super Mario Odyssey, the one that looked kind of interesting, that's not out till holiday 2017. And, there's Xenoblade Chronicles 2 if you're a JRPG guy. Minecraft is, of course, coming out for the Switch, where I actually think it'll be a big hit. Again, as it tends to be for everything that it gets on. But hopefully they'll have good split-screen support for Minecraft. I think there's a big market for, like, young kids and siblings to play Minecraft together, where you don't have to fight. You're doing this, you're doing that. I know how kids are. I'm the oldest of 4. I know how kids are. I know about that family life. Not for me. No, sir. I'm wrapping up. I don't wear condoms. Now, I was going down the kind of list of highlights from a Kotaku article to kind of keep the points together. But, I can't really... There's just no real reason for me to buy a Switch. There's certainly not a reason for me to buy one at launch. There's just no reason for me to buy a Nintendo Switch. I have a PC. The largest library of games you can get on one platform. I've got all the GameCube games, NES, SNES games, Game Boy games. I've got all the PC games, obviously. Emulators for anything else should I ever deem them worthy for me to play. I've got a 3DS with a massive library of games that spans years and years and years back. Many of them have been excellent beyond measure. With the pathetic list of launch titles for the Nintendo Switch, I do not feel any reason to shell out $300 to buy one at its launch. I don't. There's just no purpose for it. I can see how maybe at the end of the year or next year, after the library for the Switch has vastly widened in scope and scale, there might be a reason to buy the Switch. I too long for the days of Nintendo nostalgia. But that day is not today, and I can relive pretty much. I mean, I've got an N64. I've got a GameCube. I have the emulators on my PC. I've got Game Boys. I've got a 3DS upstairs. I've got all that stuff. And what about these Wii U games really looks that compelling? I mean, some of them look interesting. Odyssey looks interesting, but again, that's not till the end of this year. A lot of these games, though, look like they could be on the Wii U. How is this really a step up? None of the games look great. I mean, they looked okay. They were bright and colorful, and I would have no problems, like, playing them. Because it's Nintendo. For some reason, I can suspend my standards for Nintendo, because that's just how I am, I suppose. But what of these games couldn't have been done on the Wii U? I don't know. It just doesn't seem like it's a huge step up. But this Kotaku article here I was browsing through, let me give you the top comment, right? Because it's kind of how I feel. Watching the Nintendo Switch presentation is like watching an ex-girlfriend who has so much potential but is totally making the same fucking mistakes over and over, and you just want to shake them and tell them to stop. I went into this Nintendo Switch presentation with an open mind, legitimately an open mind, believing that maybe if what I saw was truly good enough, I might buy a Nintendo Switch. What I saw was immensely disappointing. What I saw was a company that still plays up gimmicks. I saw a Nintendo that didn't seem like it had learned anything from its failures in the past. Oh well, at least I can hope for Resident Evil on the Switch. Fuck!